discovered the secrets of the pyramid builders of Egypt. In fact, on the Coral Castle website itself, it states in regard to this topic that Ed would only say that he knew the secrets used to build the ancient pyramids, and that if he could learn them, you could too. Today, hopefully, I'm going to show you that this may have been true. In fact, I believe it to be true. And I don't believe this based upon stories that I have heard, but based upon scientific and obvious reasons that I can point to today. The first reason speaks for itself. The fact is, no scientist, no engineer, no one who is experienced in the art of stonemasonry has replicated what Edward Leeds Scalman did over 70 years ago. In fact, if you search YouTube for the video that I'm showing here, it is part 2 of In Search of the Castle of Secrets. It is clearly proven in the video and stated by the man at the quarry that a single man with primitive tools could not have moved the coral blocks that Ed purportedly did by himself without modern machinery. There is a second reason that Ed may have known the secrets of the pyramid builders, and that is there is a similarity between the coral that was used to build the Coral Castle in Homestead, Florida, and the stones that were used to build the Great Pyramid of Giza thousands of years ago. Let me show you what that correlation is. But before I do so, let me tell you about something. Let me first tell you a little bit about coral. Now, coral is made from a substance called oolite. And oolite is a sedimentary rock formed from what are called ooids. Ooids are small spheres that are mostly composed of calcium carbonate. Remember that word. Calcium carbonate is a substance that is secreted by the corals, or polyps, which are the little animals that actually live in the coral reefs. The coral reefs grow as the polyps, and the other organisms deposit calcium carbonate, which creates the coral reefs themselves. So to summarize, a coral reef is the result of small creatures called corals or polyps that secrete calcium carbonate, which creates the coral reefs, which later becomes oolitic limestone, which is what most of southern Florida is actually made of. Now let me give you one more definition, which will help you tie all of this in. Another definition for what coral is this. It is a coral reef or limestone structure that was produced by living organisms. And limestone is a type of rock composed primarily of the mineral calcite, another important word to remember, which is the crystalline form of calcium carbonate. So what does this have to do with the Great Pyramid of Giza? The Great Pyramid of Giza was built with an estimated 2.3 million limestone blocks composed primarily of the mineral calcite, the crystalline form of calcium carbonate, which is the same material that makes up coral. So there is our connection. The oolitic limestone, the coral that Ed Leeds Scalman used to build his coral castle, is made up of the same skeletal coral structures that the limestone at the Great Pyramids of Giza was made from. The stones, though given different names, are in composition absolutely identical. So then you may ask, what does this have to do with understanding the secrets of the pyramid builders? What can the similarities between the constitutions of both coral and limestone have to do with his ability to move 1,100 tons of coral without the aid of modern machinery? It has to do with its crystalline structure. Earlier I had mentioned that both coral and limestone share a common mineral. It is called calcite. Calcite, the crystalline form of calcium carbonate, is the primary component of both coral and limestone. Calcite is part of what is called the trigonal crystal system, and within this system is what is called a hexagonal lattice.
In early 2007, modern imaging technology revealed something else on Saturn that astounded scientists.
We see it very, very intensely now.
It's something big, something strange, and something never seen in the universe before. Saturn, the solar system's most bizarre yet beautiful planet, has just gotten even more mysterious. In 1979, the Voyager spacecraft showed a perfect geometric form over the North Pole. In October 2006, the Cassini craft found that it is still there.
It's just bizarre, and it sits there kind of still. It doesn't move with the planet. The pole, there's a hexagonal feature, a six-sided polygon that encircles the pole at about 78 degrees north latitude. And it's sitting there as a set feature.
The hexagon is similar to Earth's polar vortex, which has winds blowing in a circular fashion around the pole. Saturn's vortex can fit 4 Earths inside of it and extends 60 miles deep into Saturn's clouds.
And what's more bizarre, Voyager saw little tiny clouds going around at about 100 meters per second, which is about 200 miles an hour, going around this racetrack. People thought, well, maybe it's just a temporary thing. How could this stay there? It's been there now for at least 20 years.
That at certain times of the year, based upon our orbit around the Sun and our alignment with the Moon and other planets in the solar system, creates windows of opportunity by which the power that he used to do the miraculous was easier to access and utilize.
Okay guys, well this is pretty cool actually. What we're looking at here is a picture of the heat signatures on 2 of Saturn's moons, Mimas and Tethys. And I really love this photo because it shows me a very unusual geometric shape here. We can quite clearly see that this looks like a part of a triangle. Now, unfortunately, the article in regards to this appears on space.com, which is connected to NASA, and the best they can do is try and tell us that this looks like Pac-Man. In fact, they have mentioned Pac-Man about 20 times throughout this article. Not once do they mention it looks like a triangle, or at the very least, the top of a triangle, or the top of a pyramid. Not once do they mention that it looks like a very unusual geometric shape with very straight lines. They just continually tell us that it looks like Pac-Man. So to me, this really does show me they have nothing but contempt and treat us like idiots. Now, interestingly, the first heat signature here was discovered in 2010, and then they discovered this one in 2011. Now, it goes on to say at the end of the article that the surface oddity was first sighted by NASA's Voyager spacecraft in 1980. But they don't say if it looked like this. They just say that it was an oddity. They don't say if it's changed since when they first saw this in 1980. They don't tell us whether this heat signature has been experiencing a lot of differences during the times that they have first actually seen this. So, you know, once again, we don't get very much information from NASA at all, but really we shouldn't expect anything, you know, more from NASA. They are the mouthpiece of these government agencies. But anyway, I thought it was very interesting, this shape, because as soon as I saw this shape, I actually didn't see Pac-Man. What I saw was what I've been seeing on the Sun, these triangles. So I find it really interesting that this geometry seems to keep turning up again and again. And, you know, we also see that at one of Saturn's poles, there's a hexagram. So once again, we see this very unusual geometry. with Saturn. So you think that that would actually rate a mention with NASA? Obviously it doesn't. Now I just wanted to show you this really unusual correspondence to one of Saturn's moons, this one here, Mimas, and George Lucas's Death Star. And the reason that I find this really interesting is, one, they do mention it in the article, but two, now that we're starting to see that there is a definite connection between people that are very creative and their ability to tap into universal consciousness, I think we should start paying attention to a lot more of these very creative types of people and what they were relaying to us.
So if you get in a big pile of crystal quartz type rock outcropping, and you sit there and there's a big electrical event going on inside the earth, the rocks will act like speakers and you'll hear the sounds. It's got to be quiet, real quiet, but you can hear them.
Certain rocks you hear.
They change their shape depending upon the electric field they're in. You put an electrostatic field on a rock, it changes its shape. If you change its shape, it produces an electrostatic field.
Okay, so you're standing there, and what have you noticed?
That the wire is being pulled by something in the stone.
By something in the stone.
Yeah.
And we've looked up here, and we've actually found a mark in the stone of a fairly sizable bolt,
Yeah.
isn't
Big
it?
bolt,
A
yeah.
big bolt. And this is right on the crescent moon of Eds. Right in the centre of it, and right below this chair, which is where the first abnormality of this rod was taking place. We also found a very strong pull to just about 8 feet from that post in alignment with those, what would you, condominiums, some description? Apartments. And just around the corner here, what did we find when you ran the wire again? We came around the side where the pool is in the north compass. We aligned it to the north compass, didn't we?
Yes.
And, oh, by the way, it's Peter from Atmospheric Ionisation. And what else did we find here? We aligned it, and we actually found a hole.
Yeah.
And somebody's left a Valentine's love message in there, which is absolutely fantastic. And this is right underneath, on the outside wall of this triangular cube space. And it aligned it directly to this centre hole. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me again, what did it do?
It lined up with the hole.
Did it?
Yes.
It really pulls itself towards that centre hole. Okay. And then we walked around the perimeter, didn't we?
Yeah.
We took off across and followed the wire. The wire's doing all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
And how did you know to start doing this?
You can feel it, and it pulls my hands when it does that, and it also points in certain directions.
Right, okay. So you just follow and walk the direction?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. See what happens when we walk this way. Let me just come out to the top. And it's turning again.
Yes.
Oh, really? Oh, isn't that interesting? Same location. Let's keep going. Right the way around. It hasn't straightened up yet.
No, it's still pointing back towards that.
Is it? So it's a very strong pull?
Yes.
Okay, so now it's letting itself go. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not.
And it's now aligning itself. Good?
Yes.
Yep. And turned away or turned around again. Hold it way out in front of you again, but it's pointing towards water.
Okay.
So we know that. Keep walking. Right the way around. Just want to see what happens when we go right the way around the other side. Just I'll relax your arm down a little bit. Just bend your elbow back towards you. Yeah. And just let it sit out there. Okay, I'm just going to walk in front of you. I just want to come, follow me. This is the quarry. I just want to see you walk right up past this place here. And just follow the wire. Did it push away?
It did just replace it. Oh.
It is. Okay,
Yeah.
Just go back and follow the wire. Pulling you there. Walk this way. And now there.
Yeah.
Stop, look down.
Oh.
I wonder what that is.
Wow.
Looks like an earth pin that Ed put there. This was his original, or possibly one of the original posts that he used to ground and make a mark for.
Oh, wow.
Oh, by the way, if we look up, we get an alignment with the north. See that? The North Polar Star, right back over this way.
Yes.
Okay, so he lined that up with that as well.
Is the sun actually, do you believe, combusting in on itself?
It's not burning anything. There's no fusion in the sun. That's well understood.
Prove it.
Yeah, well, there's just not the way to prove that there is any. It's only in the flares that you get fusion. That's where all the X-rays. The flares, the arcs, and the X-rays, and the microwaves, and whatever result of fusion in the arcs. There's no fusion in the sun. They don't know how the sun works.
Why do you, what's special, how does the sun make light?
It's a transformer. Transforms from some other dimension. It's not burning anything. It doesn't have to. It's a converter.
Of what?
I don't know. Nobody knows. But that's what it does. That's the only thing it can do, because that's how everything works.
Transforming from another dimension?
Yeah, you could say it's taking energy from another dimension, counter space.